Okay, this is the book that Tuckahoe Library has. It's called Freshly Stitched, and there are plenty or other embroidery books in the Westchester Library System. So if anyone's interested, you can take those books out too. There's online resources which are fabulous. Go to Google and do embroidery stitches or just any stitch in particular, especially the fruit stitch, which is this. There's a link, it's called Fruit Stitch, and it shows you how to do it. It's a little complicated. So that's why you want to go online and watch that. Okay, so this, I started working on this at home. It has all the patterns here. This is the fruit stitch, all the stitches. This is French knot. This is the leaf stitch. They call this, and if I go too fast, if anyone wants me to back up or repeat something, just say something, all right? The kit calls this the outline stitch. It's also called the stem stitch. When you're going to be looking at stitches, it's called the stem stitch. It's here, the brown, and also here in the darker brown, the same stitch. Okay. There's another French knot over there. This is just the straight stitch. And the lettering is called the back stitch. And I will show you how to do that. And this is the lazy daisy. The lazy daisy is a lot of fun. So is the French knot, but it's a little tricky. Okay, so I'm putting this aside for now, and I'm gonna go get our basic kit. Everybody has their kit? Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now I wanna call your attention to the instructions on the kit, okay? It tells you the stitches you'll be using and how many threads to use, how many on the floss. There are 6 strands for each floss, and it will tell you to use 3, 2, or 6. Most of them are 3. So you'll take basically 1 and you'll separate it. How many times you need to separate it. If it's 6 and it's using 3, you just separate it in half. But
can you tell us what color we start with, please, first?
Say that again, Bonnie.
We're going to be starting soon, but I wanted to find out, since you're talking, could we start, threading the needle while you're giving information? I just
certainly, yes, by all means. All right, I'm going to review the kit. All right, so that's our instructions. This is the floss, and it came with 3 needles. There's the hoop, the pattern, okay, and package of the beads, the wooden beads and the needle, and then the yellow little seed beads inside that you'll be using for the fruit stitch. You'll be covering that bead with the red yarn and attaching it to the pattern. Okay, so okay, everybody, you can take a strand, and does anybody need me to show you how to separate it, or are we good separating it? Is everyone good at separating the thread?
Can you tell us which color to start with?
Well,
would you suggest we start with number 7, the outline stitch?
Yes, but before we do that, let me talk about the pattern and the hoop, which is very important, okay? I have this one here. This is a different one. It has you can see in gray, the pattern, there's a square around it, that you don't need that when you're finished.
Not everyone will have the
right,
square.
But some
people might have the square.
If you do, when you complete the pattern, you don't want that on it because it doesn't go completely around. See how I'm trying to get this centered? you can take a Q-tip, wet it, and that will go away. All right, so now I'm putting the hoop around it. Now I'm going to tighten it a little bit. Okay. The goal you want the hoop to be as tight as a drum. So you tighten it, tighten it, tighten it.
Before we start, can you tell us what color we're starting with so we can separate?
Tan.
Let's do
Tan.
it.
Number 7. Number 7.
Yeah. Let's make sure everyone has the clothes in the hood yet. Okay. Okay. Make sure everyone has the clothes in the hood. Yeah.
I'm not doing everything complete because you won't remember the stitches when you have to do it. So I'm giving you mostly hints. I'll show you how to do a stitch, but you'll need to refresh yourself.
So does everyone has their hood, the clothes in the hood yet?
No, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what I'm doing here. No.
You separate the hood first.
All right. Did anyone see what I did?
Maybe Joyce,
do it again?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Let's start with the hoop. The bottom is the top. The top has the metal on it. Okay. You put your pattern, center it as best you can. All right. You put the top hoop on top.
Wait, you gotta take this off.
Okay. All right.
Everyone got it? Yeah.
Yes. And then you have to make it tight. I'm using the screws on the top, making it tight as it can get. And I'm pulling it, pulling it, pulling it, and pulling it. You want it to drum. Wow. You want the drum sound. Okay.
So this
Let me just see if everyone gets it. Let's see.
And we're going to do the outline stitch, which is the, here, because I have this one.
Did you say that we take out of the one strand, we get three,
No, let me get one strand and show you.
Okay.
Are all the needles the same?
No, all the needles that came,
Yeah, no.
all the needles that are here are all the same.
Oh, all the same. Yeah, because mine look the same, right?
The fruit has a different needle. It's a very small, thin needle, and you're only using 2 strands for the fruit because you have to go around so many times. All right, so here's my needle. I'm taking, let me take one floss and show you how to separate it.
On the directions, it's called the outline stitch.
Yes, it's the outline stitch, but when you're looking on YouTube, it's the stem stitch.
The color?
No, on YouTube, it was called the outline stitch also.
Yes,
Oh.
but okay, I have one strand here. The outline stitch is the stem stitch. Everywhere else, it's called stem stitch. I have one strand here, okay? I have separated 3.
So it's number 5, is it?
7.
7 is a light brown, right?
Yes.
Number 5.
So we're doing number 5.
We are doing number 5.
5. Okay.
All right. Now I have 3 and 3.
3.
Separating it, holding it in both of my hands so it doesn't tangle. The thread really has a mind, or the floss as it's called, has a mind of its own and it wants to tangle. See how it's tangling already? You have to be very mindful of your thread because it will tangle with the least instance. You think you're perfectly fine and all of a sudden you have a knot. Okay. See?
Number 5.
I'm sorry. I'm
number
sorry.
5,
I ended up.
it says to do the back stitch with number 5.
Outline stitch is in number 5 or 7, either one.
7. Number 7 is the beige thread. Yes, that's number 7. The light tan. Number 7.
All right. So
I'm sorry. I ended up knocking you off when I inadvertently took another call. If I separate the thread, I'm sorry I didn't hear it. There's 6 pieces and I take 3?
Yes. You're going to have 2 pieces of 3.
Okay, and I have to be very careful because they will twist.
It will twist.
Okay.
It will twist and it will not. Okay. I'm working on the pattern that I started. Do you see over here with the fruit? This.
What did you? Is that dark brown?
Yes, it is. But you can also, if you want to, you can be doing the stem with the beige color because it's the same stitch. I'm just showing you the pattern. I'm not doing the whole, because this takes hours. Okay.
Somebody said 10 and then it was a yes. And then I asked dark brown and it was a yes.
Either I'm showing you how to do a stitch. It's the same stitch, the tan, see what I'm pointing to? It's the same outline stitch, which is the stem stitch. Also, this brown is also the stem stitch. So I'm showing you how to do the stem stitch down over here. Okay. So I have my red. It's 3 strands. I'm knotting it. Then, all right, I'm going in the back. Okay. All right, everyone's ready to do something, do a stitch?
No.
Okay. Now, another thing I want to tell you, your needle is a very important tool. So if you get a knot you need to get out or something gets twisted, you don't need to do that because I don't even need that, okay? So we're doing the stem stitch. So I came up the bottom and I'm going a little bit on the top. Now, see where my thumb is in the thread? I'm holding the thread with my thumb so it doesn't get tangled. And before, I have a little loop here. You go in between there. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to measure or anything. All right. Okay, see how I have a little loop there before I pull it?
Now,
yes?
You're saying that stitch, that's a stem stitch, but on the back, I don't see a stem stitch.
I told you.
It was the outline stitch?
The outline stitch is the stem stitch.
Okay.
When you're going to be looking for the stitches, you'll see it called stem stitch. There, the pattern is just calling it the outline stitch. It doesn't exist anywhere else. It's the stem stitch.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. So now
to separate the strings.
Oh.
Okay, everybody, to see how I'm
Oh, here we go. We're on there.
Okay. I have one stitch there. All right. Now I'm going in again from the top. And when it's curvy, you want to take small stitches. When it's straight, you don't have to, you can take a longer stitch. Now, here's the thread. I'm making sure my thumb is holding it so it doesn't get tangled. Okay. Pulling it down. I'm leaving a little loop. Okay. I'm going in between here. Making sure that it's not knotted in the back also. Okay. I keep my finger in the back too of the thread so that it doesn't get tangled. All right.
So basically when you put the needle on the second stitch, you're going in the loop, right?
Yes, exactly.
You're going in the loop.
That's why you're not going to remember this. That's why it's very important to watch YouTube before you do any of this, because you'll need to refresh yourself. This is just beginning little minor hints. I'm not going to be doing everything. I'm just showing you how to do the stitch. And when you YouTube, you'll be going over and over and over again. You can stop it and start it again. Okay?
So basically you hold the stitch, so 2 reasons: it doesn't tangle, and also you have room to put the needle up.
Yes, exactly. Very good. All right. So I'm just going to finish this row. All right. And then that's the stem or the outline stitch. So that's going to be finished so we can get on to other stitches and questions. All right. There's a loop.
Oh, this is terrible.
What's terrible?
I put 1 stitch in and the whole thing got twisted.
Oh, see, that's what you have to, your thread is not your friend. You have to really, it's really, especially this color. That's why I make sure I hold it. You really have to be very.
So it doesn't bunch up.
All right.
I haven't done this in so many years.
Okay, but you'll remember as soon as you do it, like, oh my gosh, it's threading like crazy. All right.
Do you put the needle in the middle of the loop?
See, my thumb here is holding the thread.
When you
see, it got caught on my fruit.
Do you put the needle in the middle of the loop or on one edge?
That's not that important. See, can you see what I have over here? Just make sure it's in there somewhere. The placement in there is not that vital. Okay, can you see? In my loop, can you see in my loop? There's a little space. Okay, I'm holding my thread. Okay. Here's the pulling. Oh, see, look, I didn't pull all the way in the back. Okay. All right. So how my thread got caught on the top and also on the fruit. One thing I want to tell you about the fruit, the red stitch, this is the fruit berries. Normally you put them on at the end. I only did it so you could see because the thread will get tangled around there, especially when you're doing the French knots. You don't want anything that when you need to keep your thread taut, anything it'll get caught on. All right, so you can continue doing your outline stitch, but I'm going to be, if you want to finish that row, just let me know when you're finished, okay? And I'm going to be talking a little bit, and we're going to be going on to the Lazy Daisy.
When you put your needle up like the second time or so, you put it in the loop, so you'd be matching where you put the prior stitch in the loop, right?
What? See, can you look at this for a minute? I pulled it tight without holding the loop. I'm using my needle as a tool. I'm making a loop. Okay, there's my loop. Your needle is a tool. So then I can go in here. And just as long as it's in there, where in there, it doesn't make a difference. You're just trying to get a nice, thicker line, okay?
But then when you see where the prior needle was in, do you do it next to where the prior one came in the loop or not?
Inside there, inside that space, wherever, as long as it's just inside the loop, it doesn't make a difference if it's in the middle, the left, or right. Just make sure it's in the loop.
I mean, does it match up with where you put it the first time?
No one's going to see it. Look at this. Do you see? Can you see? Look at mine. Can you see where?
No, I know. It probably comes out different.
You can't tell.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
That's a small point.
When you come to a leaf, do you skip the leaf or do you continue over the leaf?
Well, that's something else I wanted to tell you. Everybody just stop doing that for a minute and let's look at the pattern, okay? All right. You see how they have I'm looking, they're called the outline or stem stitch over here, the beige. All right. See how it goes? And then there's a leaf that goes on top of it. And then it continues again. And it continues again, and then the lazy daisy goes on top of it. It's very important that you look at your pattern so you know where crisscrosses, okay? Like over here, there's a leaf that goes on top, which yes, it does, and the lazy daisy goes on top. So you're following the pattern. Okay.
So you continue the line over the leaf, even though it's going to go on the leaf, the outline stitch.
You don't know where there's the leaf. You don't have to. Where this leaf, where is it? This leaf over here. I stopped it. You can put it underneath if you want, but it's gonna mess up the leaf because the leaf is you don't need it under there. So I didn't continue it. I stopped, I did the leaf without it underneath.
Just to reiterate, you're using the dark brown, correct?
I'm going in with the fruit, the red fruit. That's why I'm using the dark one. The beige one is already completed, but it's the same stitch, we're doing the same stitch. So it doesn't make a difference what color or where I'm doing it. This is the same stem stitch on the top for the red fruit. And you'll see it where it's curved. Make sure you do small little stitches so that it curves very nicely. Okay. Okay, so we're not, all right, we're not going to finish the stem stitch. When we get to the end of this, wherever you're doing it, you're going to have to stop and just put your needle in the back. Just put it in the back. Or you can keep going and you don't have to watch me do any more stitches because you don't have to watch what I'm doing. I mean, you don't have to continue the same stitch that I'm doing. But I'm going to be doing the lazy daisy, which is a very, very fun stitch. Let me just put this in the back. Down. Okay. All Now, if I could have everyone's attention so I can show you the green lazy daisy, because we don't have time in this introductory class, thank you, to do every stitch together, all right? I started the lazy daisy here, which is this green, okay? Now, if I can have your attention, the lazy daisy stitch is fun. You go in, it's a pointed end and a loop. The pointed end and it's tear shaped, okay? You put your needle in the point where it's pointed, all right? There's my thread, mindful thread. Okay, then with my thumb holding here, I go in exactly the same spot where I came out from underneath, okay? And I go to where the teardrop space is, all right? Can you see this? I'll do it a couple of times. And watching my thumb holding the thread, I'm pulling the thread or the floss, okay? And you want to make sure you don't pull it too tight because you want to have that loop. And then you go down just a little bit. Okay.
You start at the tip or at the
Start
outline?
at the tip, the little narrow point. Start at the point.
You start at the point and go in at the outline.
You start at the point, yep. And then I'm pulling the thread through. And then you put the needle exactly in the same spot where you just came out. And you go to find it with your finger where the top of the little teardrop is, all right? And like I said, when you're ready to be doing this, you'll go on YouTube and you'll watch it and they'll explain it to you. And when you're ready to do it, it'll be right there for you. Because
Okay.
like, we don't have time in this demonstration to do every stitch complete. Okay, so.
Oh, so then that's all you do with the loop.
That's it. Then see how I have the loop? Now I'm securing the loop. Okay.
This is a 3-strander also?
This is what?
3 strands?
Yes, everything, yes. If it's not 3 strands, I will tell you. And the directions tell you.
Okay.
Everything is 3 strands except the French knot is 6 and it tells you. And the fruit stitch is 2. Okay.
Did you say we have a shorter needle for the fruit stitch?
Yes, which I'm not talking about it yet, but yes, you do.
I don't see it here.
It's in the bag.
It's in the packet. It's in the packet with the beads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And
it's in the packets with the beads. Yeah, I see it. It's tiny. Yeah, it's tiny.
Tiny. And
yes.
Speaking of that, I would really recommend to thread that needle because the hole is so tiny that everyone gets needle threaders. You can get them at Joann's, Michael.
Right, yeah, right.
Okay, because it was extremely difficult and I can thread needles, but it took me I said, nope, I'm not gonna go blind trying to thread it. So get a needle threader, okay? All right, so.
Oh.
All right, we're going to move on to where we're talking about it. Let's go. I want you to watch me do the fruit stitch. Okay, I have one started. It takes a very long time to do this. Oh, okay. Also, while I have you here, I want to call your attention to these beads. The wooden beads, if I could have your attention, okay? See how the hole, you want the hole to be as big as possible and clear. If there's an obstruction, I would take a pair of scissors or a knife or whatever to make sure it's clear, because the first one I did had something in the hole and it was blocked and I didn't know it, and I practically had to get a plier to pull the needle through at the end. All right, so you want to make sure the hole is as big on both ends. Okay, so now with the...
You know what this would cost if I bought it?
Okay, with the red berry, you need to take the red, which has the usual 6 strands, and you need to take 2 strands and 2 strands and 2 strands. You're taking the 6 and dividing it into 2. So you'll have 3 2s, because that's what you only need 2. All right. And that's what I have over here. This is only 2. And I made a knot at the end. Okay. And I'm secured to secure the red. And then you just go around in the hole in the center.
Uh-oh.
Till you cover all the wood.
Hmm.
Okay, there it is. It's completely covered. One more, okay. Then I'm going to show you how to attach it. I have the red berry still with thread. Okay. Then I'm placing it, I'm putting the needle in the middle of the circle. And what I want to tell everybody is, if you find making the red berries too frustrating and you prefer not to use them, you can use the red thread and just fill in the circle with whatever stitch you want. You can just put it with straight stitch, or you can fill it with French knots. So it's up to you. All right, so now I'm taking there it is.
Oh.
Okay. Now you have to anchor it and have it on the back. So I'm anchoring it with going with some of my other stitches first. Okay. Then I'm putting the needle so I can position the needle in the center. So I can get the berry. I can get the bead, which, give me a moment. You can keep going. I'll let you know when I get the.
So the holes are vertical?
Yes, otherwise how would you attach it? Yeah, see the needle is coming out the top, okay.
Then you put it down close to the berry?
Yes, and it's on YouTube also, okay? I won't expect you to remember this. now, but you can, everything I'm telling you, you'll find on the computer. There's nothing you have to remember. All right, now I'm getting the little yellow seed bead that's in the packet. Okay. And I have my red berry attached.
Just about.
Okay, can I have everybody's attention? All right, now I'm taking the yellow seed bead and it's here on my thread. And I'm going through the hole again. Okay. Mindful of the thread because there's a lot to get tangled with here. Okay, and there's the yellow seed bead on the top. Here. All these, all right? And then you have to just attach it. And you can anchor it more on the back. Another tool you'll definitely need, you'll need sharp scissors because if you have to cut the thread, you don't want it fraying, all right? So let me get my scissors. So. Right. I want to show you another stitch that's a little tricky. It's the French knot. Okay, so to finesse it, you have to be able to pull it tight so that the French knot goes correctly. Right.
Oh.
Okay. Here's a tip. The French knot says you should use 6 strands, but the needle would be very difficult to thread 6 strands. So I'm taking the 2 3s, separating them, and I'm going to double it so that I do have 6 strands. Thank you. Okay. How's everybody doing? I think we're doing good. Okay, so now, won't have time to do the back stitch, but that's easy. And the leaf stitch, you can do those. Look those up on YouTube. Okay. They're just basically straight stitches. Okay, so there's, yeah, I did enough of it. All right. So this is the 2 3 stands. Now to do the French knot, I'm going to put it double. So it is 6 strands, but I didn't have to put 6 strands through the needle head. So I'm making a knot. Okay. Okay, now, and there's the, all right. Now, I started with over here. You can see I have the pink over here, the French knots here, the French knots in the gray, and the French knots in by the fruit berry. But this one I have, the little circle is a French knot. That's the code for a French knot. Okay, so I'm going to go in the back with my knot. Go in the circle. If we have everybody's attention, then you can go back to your pattern later, okay? All right, sorry. Now, you take your needle and you wrap the thread around the needle. They say to wrap it 3 times. That's 1, that's 2, and that's 3. Okay, I don't know if my hand's in the way. Then holding this end tight, you go close to the hole, but not in the same hole. And I'm anchoring the thread that I need to keep tight. Where my thumb is, I'm keeping it very tight. And then I'm pulling thread in. Otherwise, your French knot will get really out of shape. Okay, hold it as tight as you can. There's my French knot. Nice, neat French knot. Okay, again. Okay. And you'll see that on YouTube too. 1, 2, 3. 3 in the hole. Holding tight.
1, 2, 3.
Yes.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
Yes, 3. And you don't have to do 3, but that's what this calls for, 3. When I did over here, if you can see, when I did the fruit berries, the red, the pink French knots here, I had thread left over on the needle that I wouldn't have. It was extra, so I just made more French knots. Instead of doing it, I filled in the whole area, and the end, the French knots on the end only had 2 circles around, so they're different size. You can do whatever you want. It's your design. Okay? So that's it for our French knots. All right? Now, I have to leave a little time for questions because the program's over at 4 o'clock. So I just wanted to call your attention to the wording. It says, true love never dies. It only gets strong up instead of stronger with time. So I did it completely, just I made the A, but you can change it to ER if you want. Okay? So that's the wording, and that's just backward. That's called a backward stitch. So you're going in, and then you're going back and front. Look at that when you go on YouTube. And the same thing with the leaf pattern. See, the leaf is, pretend there's a line down the middle, and you're just going to make the, the leaf pattern is, that's how leaves are. You can see how, all right. The pattern shows that. Okay. Let me see, anything else? What do I got? I guess, all right. Don't forget to be aware, always be aware of your thread. Outline stitch, don't force anything. If you get a knot with your thread, there's plenty. They gave you, this kit comes with an abundance of floss or thread. If you get a knot and it's too frustrating, just cut it. Cut that and then start over again with the different floss, because it can be really, really frustrating. Follow the pattern. Use your needle as a tool. You gotta use your noodle too when you're doing this, right? Okay, so we're closing at 4 o'clock. So does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. Would this be easier if it was done in person? Is this something that is more of an in-person demonstration?
Go on YouTube and you'll see it's the same thing. It's YouTube. Okay. You're getting one-to-one on YouTube.
Okay, thank you.
It's just closer, and then they do the pattern over and over and over again, and then you can see it for and then you can play it again and play it again. There's different.
But is it this pattern or just another pattern?
It's the stitches.
The stitches. Okay.
It's the stitches. The same stitches can use in every pattern. This calls for the leaf stitch, which is the blue. And there's different ways to do the leaves too. There's the French knot that we did, the same thing. There's the fruit stitch, which is this, okay? The outline stitch, which is really the stem stitch. The straight stitch, which is just this going straight here, the little star. And the back stitch is the lettering. You're just following the line. And that's the stitches. And the lazy daisy stitch too. Okay?
Right, okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. One other thing, this kit says to wash it before, after you finish it. I would not recommend washing it because you can't iron this because we have the lovely red fruit. And they're saying it to wash it to get the pattern off. But like I said, if you have any showing, the ink showing and it bothers you, take a Q-tip and wet it. It should get rid of the ink that's on the pattern, like the gray is over here. So I wouldn't recommend washing it. You can perfectly wash it if you want to, but it'll be hard to iron it because it couldn't be flat.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Anyone else?
How do you transfer this to a nice, I guess, piece of cloth?
Oh.
I mean, to display it, because this is not like for display, right?
Oh, sorry. Thank you.
You mean,
all right.
You mean I want to mount it? Yeah, that's
yes,
true.
Right. This is what people are doing today. Thank you for that. Thank you. I wanted to do the end. All right. This is how today what they're doing with this. Pretend this is finished. Okay. You turn it over, and then you would cut the back. So it's basically all the same, like a circle. This extra thread. Let's say it's all the circle. Yeah. Then they take a needle and thread, and you could do whatever you have left over, and you'll find it on YouTube also. You make a circle, and then you pull it tight like it's closed. All right, it's closed then. And then they hang it up like this, just like that. That's how
you keep it in the embroidery hoop and mount it that way. Yes, they do keep it
in the hoop today. You'll see it's very popular.
Okay.
Framed on the wall with the hoop. And that's how, instead of the old days and that taking it off and framing. But this way, with this design, it's really hard to frame it anyway because you need like a shadow box. So
right. Yeah. Because of the flowers, the raised flowers. I see.
Right. Well, actually, the fruit looks like maybe
the fruit. The fruit. Sorry. Yeah.
It's adorable. I think Heidi picked a really cute pattern for us. Okay. I hope everybody's all right with this.
Okay. Thank you.
Are we good?
Yes, we are.
Yes. Good. I think once you get familiar with all the different stitches, you can actually create your own patterns.
Exactly.
You can sew it on your clothes, sew it on your bags, everywhere.
Even your mask, you can put a little embroidery on the mask. So this is how it's finished, if you desire. And then it gets hung up like that, and you'll see it all over. You can go on YouTube, and they show you how to finish it also. In the back.
Yeah, and all these 7 stitches on this pattern is
right.
Pretty common stitches among all of patterns.
Right. Just remember, like I told you, the outline stitch is the stem stitch. Stem, S-T-E-M stitch. So if you're going to be looking for outline stitch, you might not find it, but it's the stem stitch. Okay?
Okay. Any questions? I wish, like, when you finish your product, send me pictures.
Yes, that would be good.
And that would be great.
And just take your time, yes. Everybody, take your time. And if you're getting frustrated with something, like with any stitch, just put it down for I see someone's doing good. Put it down, walk away, look out a window, get a drink of water.
Actually, when I was doing the embroidery, for the testing, and then I was doing it, and my sister got involved. And then we both doing together in one pattern. So that's fun.
And there are lovely kits online or in the stores. Joann's and Michael's have the kits too, but you'll be basically doing the same stitches.
Yes.
There are more complicated stitches. There are gorgeous advanced stitches that you can do too, but with these stitches, it's a great foundation.
And don't forget, the library has the book. If you have problem to look on YouTube, you can come to the library and borrow this book.
And the Westchester Library system too.
Yeah.
So you can see over here, this is the leaf. See how the leaf is different? There are many different ways to do the leaf. They just went straight instead of going to the vein. Right. They didn't go to the vein. They went straight. There's a French knot. There's a larger French knot. French knot. Straight, straight, straight. French knot. This looks like the stem stitch we have over here. Straight. So you have the basics there.
They will teach you how to do patterns and then put on the hood.
Yeah.
And then they
can you see how that's how they finish it? Stays in the hoop. That's what they're doing now.
Yes. And actually this book also provides you some patterns, I believe.
Yeah, in the back.
Yeah, so you can also make a copy
and there's free patterns on YouTube also.
Yes. So this is basically how to do, this is like a
see the stem stitch here?
Yeah, the graphic.
See, and look see how it's in the center of the loop?
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
This is the back stitch. Okay. Everything you can find easy online, and you're going to need a refresher anyway.
Yeah, this is the stitches we just stitched, right?
Yep. See, there's the leaf over here. See the leaf? The leaf, the way they did it here. These people did it just simpler.
Yeah, just like a straight line.
There's many different ways to do the leaf. You could do whatever is more comfortable for you.
Yeah. Okay.
And we would love to see when you're finished. If you send us pictures of it, we'd love to see.
Can I ask if you have any recommendations for when you try to do embroidery on a towel?
Because you're going to need a longer needle. Right, and you want to fit it in the hoop. So I would look at YouTube, see what they say. There's people on YouTube who've done it, and they'll give you hints, and they'll tell you, and they'll show you how to do it. Oh, I wish we were over there right now.
I know. So how's everyone doing?
Doing good. Thank you for the kit. Thank you.
Okay. Once you finish, send us the picture about your finishing product. Yes. That would be great.
Oh, look. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
Oh, nice.
Carol, do you have anything to show us?
No, I was basically listening to the instructions.
Okay.
Yeah, because I couldn't.
Oh, nice. Beautiful. Thank you, Yoshiko.
You did, Mary? Oh, lovely.
But behind.
Can you share the screen so we could see what the others are doing?
Beautiful. Everybody, I hope I didn't confuse everybody, and I hope you got good basic beginning. Okay, go on YouTube. It can be your friend.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye. Happy crafters.
Bye. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.